welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Maybelline Soda Pop eyeshadow palette. If you do want to see a review and a demo, please keep watching. This is what the eyeshadow palette does look like. You get 12 different shadows in this palette, so let's open it up. When you open it up, here's a closer look of what the eyeshadow palette does look like. Let's just go ahead and start with the swatches. The first shade we are going to be swatching is called Chilling. That's actually a very creamy, buttery shadow. So here's what this shade Chilling does look like. Not a bad shadow. It looks like you do have to build up these shades. So I just blended that shade out. I'm going to blend it out again using another layer so that way we can see what the shade looks like. So again, here we have the shade in Chilling. The shade below it is called Soda Fizz. A little bit powdery. And here we have that beautiful shade in Soda Fizz. The second shade in Soda Fizz was a little bit more pigmented than the first shade. I believe the first shade you can use as a transition. The next shadow in the collection is called Tonic. Another beautiful buttery creamy shade. I was not expecting that from this palette. And here's what the shade Tonic looks like. That's another wonderful glitter shade. Below the shade Tonic, we do have the next shade. It's called Sugar High. Wow, it's extremely buttery in the pan, which I love. And here we have that shade. Again, a little bit of fallout, but we can build up the shade. The next shade is called Grape Pop. Again, very buttery. It is a little bit buttery in the pan, but chunky as well. The next shade is called Blue Raspberry. Very creamy. And here we have that shade in Blue Raspberry. The shadow in Blue Raspberry was a little bit chunkier, so I did end up blending it out. So this is what it looks like. The next shade in the palette is called Ginger Ale. Another very buttery shadow. It's actually a gorgeous matte shade. The next shade is called Crushing. Another matte shade. The next shade is called Cherry on Top. And here we have that matte shade. The next shade is called Cherry Cola. Again, this is a very buttery shade. That shade was very pigmented and very vibrant. The next shade we have is called Cola Float. That's a nice transition shade as well. And the last shade in the collection is called Root Beer. And very pigmented. I definitely noticed an improvement in the formula. All 12 of these shades are very buttery in the pan. They swatched quite nicely. So now we're going to create an eyeshadow look using this palette. I'm going to be taking a fluffy brush and I'm just going to pick up the shade Cola Float. And I'm going to be applying that all over my crease. Shadow in Cola Float has a lot of kickback. So again, I am going to be applying that shade all over my crease. One thing that I don't like about this eyeshadow palette is that it doesn't have a mirror. I do love how the shadow in Cola Float did blend out. The next shade I am going to be taking on that same brush is the shade Crushing, and I'm going to apply that right below the crease. I am liking how the shadows do blend together. Now with my finger, I'm going to be grabbing the shade Soda Fizz, and I'm going to be applying that all over my lid. This shadow in Soda Fizz does have a little bit of fallout to it. As you guys can see, it is all over my face. So I'm just going to be taking a clean brush and I'm going to dust away any fallout. I am loving how this eyeshadow look did turn out. I'm just going to go back in with that same clean brush with no product on it. So whatever's left on the brush, and I'm just going to diffuse it all together. That way we don't have any harsh lines. Using just 3 shades in this eyeshadow palette, I am really loving how the look did turn out. I'm loving these shadows so far. I do feel like Maybelline did amp up the formula in this eyeshadow palette versus the Lemonade palette. The Lemonade palette I did try out and I did not like that palette, but I love this palette more. I do like the berry shades in here. I love this shade right here. The matte shades are nice too. There really isn't a shade in here that I wouldn't use. Now I'm just going to add on some mascara to finish up the look, and I'll be right back. So here we have the completed look. I just added mascara to my look, and I added a MAC powder lipstick. This is in the shade Impulsive. I love this shade because it's your lips but better. It does sit comfortably on the lips, and I don't even notice that this lipstick is on my lips. My final thoughts on this eyeshadow palette is that I really do love this eyeshadow palette. Maybelline did really step up their game when creating this eyeshadow palette. I definitely noticed a difference with the formula of the shadows in this eyeshadow palette. All these shades are very creamy in the pan. The shadows are very pigmented, but you do have to blend them out. I did have to go a couple times, once or twice, but I do love how this eyeshadow look did come together. It was super easy and quick. The Maybelline Soda Pop eyeshadow palette does retail for $13.99 at Ulta. That's where I purchased mine. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video.